Are we live? We are live. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. This is United versus Everybody. I am your host, Sean. This is the Manchester United fan channel that is built by, powered by, sustained by all of you guys, the viewers, the community. Get involved, subscribing, sharing your thoughts, sharing your opinions. Like the banner on the channel says, this is fan opinion first, always. I'm here for you guys. You guys keep it going and you guys make it what it is. I'm just thankful to be a part of it. So welcome back to another Manchester United news roundup. A little bit to cover today. I wanted to talk a little bit today about Carabao Cup and Europa League because we learned our Carabao Cup opponents in the third round today or yesterday, and then we're going to see who our opponents in the Europa League are tomorrow, and we're going to see how that group stage is going to look for us. Remember that European competitions have a new format this year, so we will be talking a little bit about what that looks like and how it impacts United. And then I want to look at this morning's the odds and ends regarding ins and outs as far as players go and any other news that we have coming up. So could get some announcements today. We'll see what happens. But let's get stuck in. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you are new. We did hit 1,000 subscribers this week. Thanks to all you guys, all you legends. We'll be celebrating that this weekend with Saturday's transfer window rating show, where we're going to look at the transfer window, the players, the way Ineos have been moving in the summer. And we're also going to rate the window, but then we're also going to give our expectations for the season as well. What are your musts? What do you expect? What do you need to see from tenhag, the players? What do you need to see from Manchester United this season? What makes it a success? What would make it a failure? So don't forget to stop by Saturday afternoon to get involved in that show, because we will also be announcing the winner of the giveaway as my thanks for you guys getting involved. The shirt is way over there. I'm not going to get up and get it, but we will be announcing the winner of that shirt as a giveaway, and then we'll see if we want to do anything else for that. We'll probably take a look at the Liverpool match as well, but the Liverpool preview officially will probably be tomorrow as we move into that one, depending on when Erik ten Hag's pre-match press conference goes down. So let's dive into a little bit of what is going on with United's Cup competitions, because we're starting to see some of that take shape right now. So Carabao Cup draw took place yesterday, and United have drawn Barnsley at home in the third round of the competition. Barnsley currently sit, I think, 9th the last time I checked in League One. So not even in the championship. They're down another league. And I don't mean to laugh like it's insulting, but it's interesting, some of the teams that we get drawn against. They've drawn one match, they've lost one, and they've won one, I think, in their 3 games that they've played so far. So they're sitting, mid-table right now. They did make it to this round by beating Wigan and then Sheffield United. So I think they beat Wigan on pens, if I remember correctly. So remember, United we used to complain for a few years there because we were always seemed to get drawn against Premier League sides, whether it was the FA Cup, whether it was a Carabao Cup, and because like City would get drawn against sides like Oldham and whatnot, but we've seen it. The problem is now, the FA, the competition is kind of screwing these lower league clubs now, basically ensuring that Premier League clubs make it to the final rounds, because it's kind of putting out this vibe that they care more about the viewers, they care more about getting a bigger draw than they do about the actual kind of like the sporting merit of the competition, because they pretty much matched up every Premier League club with a lower league club. I think maybe it was like Everton and Wolves, or Brighton and Wolves, or something like that, was like the only other matchup that I saw that was Premier League versus lower league. So a lot of people not too happy about that. But hey, the FA's got to get that money, right? So it is what it is. It seems to be the way things work these days. And I'm not saying it so casually like it's a good thing or like I don't care. It's just, I've said it many times. I might have said it on this channel a couple times. The money involved with the game that we've seen, especially kind of expedite and grow exponentially over the last 5, 6, 7 years. I think the Neymar and Mbappe things really started to kill it for me. The Chinese Super League, now the Saudi League, the Super League, the European Super League that they tried to put out a couple years ago, and then just the way that they're changing some of these European competitions, it's starting to feel like money is going to make the game almost unwatchable anymore. And I'm not going to get into sports washing and all that kind of stuff. You guys can look into all that, but I do feel like with the fact that now it's kind of starting to bleed into the Carabao Cup a little bit more and stuff, I think that's going to be almost a nail in the coffin for some of these lower teams that really, really, really depend on the cup competition and advancing, and you're basically killing their chances almost. So it is a little frustrating. Maybe it's their way to kind of make more people care about the Carabao Cup, because that's also another side of that coin. A lot of people are, I've called into Sirius XM for a couple times in the past talking about how do we make the FA Cup, how do we make the Carabao Cup more appealing, because they are domestic cups. They do count. United have won Carabao Cup and the FA Cup in the last 2 years. We're up there with Arsenal for like the most FA Cups, I think, right now. So it's, how do we make these domestic competitions a bigger deal has been the topic of discussion for a few years now. Now, whether or not this is intentional, all these Premier League clubs getting drawn against these lower league clubs is part of it, to try to make it so there's more Premier League clubs in the final stages. I don't know. You guys get involved and let me know how you feel about that. Let me know how you feel about us getting drawn against Barnsley, League One side. Do you like our chances against Barnsley? Barnsley, we've seen that we sometimes struggle against lower league. I think we got knocked out of one of these competitions. I want to say it was like 7-8 years ago by Middlesbrough on pens. You remember? I was watching that one. That was back when I was in my master's program. Before class, I was literally sitting in an office with my laptop watching that right before I had to jump on class. And I remember just not being a very happy person in class that night. Let me know what you think. Because we also have the Europa League draw this week as well. I've been waiting on this for a while now. This is happening tomorrow, I think, is the official draw. We're going to get the final. The finals are today. We'll take a look at what that looks like as well. I, of course, have a big interest in this, especially the home and away schedule of the draw, because it does impact my trip to Manchester this season. As you know, I try to go every year. I try to squeeze in 2 matches. I went 2 years ago, and my first time was Real Betis and then Southampton, because I try to get in 2 matches to make it really worth my while. Last season, I went to Galatasaray and Crystal Palace, trying to see what we got for Europa League this season. So I want to know what these home and away legs look like. The playoff matches for both the Europa League and the Champions League are today. They're going to decide the final 36 teams in the group stage. All those teams are going to be loaded into one big table for this new look competition. Now, remember, anyone knocked out of the Champions League, so in the past, if you get knocked out of the Champions League in the group stage, you drop down the Europa League. That's no longer a thing. You get knocked out of the Champions League, you're done, which, I mean, I'd rather have that. I think it should be one and done. Anybody who complains, I don't think any of these big sides can complain, like Barcelona, if they got knocked out of the Champions League into the Europa League, they don't get to complain and then also turn around and complain about fixture congestion. It is what it is. In the Europa League, so we're going to play 8 games in this new expanded format of group stage. There used to be 32 teams, now it's 36. So we're playing 8 games instead of 6 now, 4 home, 4 away. Got to get that money, UEFA. The knockout round won't be until 2025, won't be till like January, February, I think. 4 pots of all these teams. United are in pot 1. We have the top seed for the draw after we won the FA Cup to be automatically put in the Europa League. I think we're second in the UEFA coefficient. I think we're behind Roma right now. But we are in pot 1. We will be drawn against 2 teams from each of the remaining pot. So, and that includes our own pot. Now, we can't face any English opponents like we're used to seeing. So Spurs are in there. We can't play Spurs. And then we can only play a maximum of 2 teams from each country in there. So we won't be playing like multiple Portuguese or French sides or German sides or something like that, So who is already qualified for Europa League? So Spurs, United, Olympiacos, Athletic Bilbao, Real Sociedad, Eintracht Frankfurt, Hoffenheim, Roma, Lazio, Nice. I wonder if we'll be able to play Nice. If somebody knows, let me know. Lyon, AZ Alkmaar, Porto, Galatasaray, we remember them, Malmo, Dynamo Kiev, FC 20, Union St. Gilloise. Remember they played Liverpool last season a lot, and they got a result against Liverpool, I believe. Rangers, Fenerbahce, Carabao, Midtjylland. Remember Midtjylland? Remember some of the debuts we saw against Midtjylland a long time ago? Bodo Glimt and Slavia Prague. These guys are already qualified for the Europa League. How do you guys feel about that? Do we want revenge against Galatasaray? I kind of want revenge against Galatasaray. I remember being at that match at Old Trafford against Galatasaray. It was not a fun match. My seat was kind of right in line with our goal when we gave away that penalty. And I remember just all the United fans around me when that happened, just an immediate just groan, just what are you doing, guys? There were a lot of Galatasaray fans kind of, if you remember some of the news stories, there's groups of these Galatasaray fans kind of seated throughout the stadium, which was, I remember, was a big uproar. A lot of people were mad that the club that had allowed that, but they were causing all sorts of problems. There were flares, there were some fights going on. There was literally like some sort of a scuffle going on, probably 5-6 rows below me at that match, because a group of Galatasaray fans had started some shit with a bunch of United fans and weren't happy. I remember I couldn't get to sleep that night because Galatasaray fans were just walking around Manchester in the middle of the night, singing, yelling, celebrating right outside the hotel. Coincidentally, too, my cab driver, when I got in, so I had my flight got rescheduled. I got into New York and then I had to go from one airport to the next. And my cab driver between happened to be this Galatasaray fan. So it was bittersweet. He was giving me some stick, but we were talking football a lot, which is also good. He was giving me some good insights on some young Turkish players. So it is what it is, but I wouldn't mind some revenge against Galatasaray. Fenerbahce would be interesting, kind of reuniting with Jose Mourinho. We had a little bit of an interesting face-off against him when he went to Spurs. Remember, Ollie beat him the one, and then he beat us. Could we go see, Jose and Fenerbahce? Would you guys be up for that? I don't really want Sociedad. I don't really want any Spanish side, to be honest with you. Sociedad, I'm still pissed about that bullshit handball penalty that we gave away. That was not a handball. Remember that group stage 2 seasons ago when Leach to the ball came off his thigh and hit his hand, which is not supposed to be a handball, but apparently it is when it's United. So you guys remember that one. Who do you want? We've got the playoffs today to figure out who's finally going to qualify. Some of these, there's about 10, 12 matches left today. Some of them are pretty much wrapped up. Looks like Ajax will probably go through. They're up 4-1 in the first leg against Jagiellonia. Ludogorets Razgrad are probably going to go through. Maccabi Tel Aviv, PAOK are probably going to go through as well. But we could see some other teams kind of qualify. Anderlecht have a good chance to get in there. Besiktas they're tied 3-3 in their first leg. Who else we got here? Lask, Ferencváros, Molde, Rapid Vienna, Braga. So we're going to see the finalized group stage, what that's going to look like. And then tomorrow, I think the Champions League draw is today, but Europa is tomorrow. So have to wait one more day, one more sleep to figure out what my trip's going to look like. But who do you guys want in the Europa League? Who would you guys like to play? Who do you want to avoid? Who do you not want anything to do with? Personally, I know it sounds weird to talk about who we don't want to play, who we're scared of. It's just like a lot of people might not want to play Galatasaray. I want revenge against Galatasaray. I was not happy about that result at all, and I want us to go back and show them what we can do. Let me see who else here could be a fun game to go to. Bilbao could be fun. I don't want Sociedad anymore. Porto could be interesting. Porto were causing a few teams some problems last season in Europe, but they lost a couple of their players. I know their striker, I think, went to Bournemouth, I want to say, if I remember correctly. But they do still have Alan Varela, and he was a force in the Champions League last season. Ajax could be interesting. A little bit of tenhag return. That could be fun one. Rangers, we did play them preseason. Remember, that could be interesting. They might be looking out for some revenge. Lazio could be interesting as well. Remember, they were recently linked with Victor Lindelof. Who else? Remember Midtjylland? We played them a while ago. Who was that under Louis van Gaal? We played Midtjylland. That's when isn't that when Rashford kind of made his debut against Midtjylland? Picked up a goal. So anyway, let me know who you want in the Europa League who you don't want in the group stage. Remember that draw is tomorrow. We play 8 games, 4 home, 4 away. I'm going to hopefully, get my trip lined up tomorrow, and then we'll talk about that a little bit more. But it is a new look format this year, no longer the same group stage as before, and we won't see the knockout rounds till the new year. So let me know. Let's talk a little bit of transfer news and updates. Not a whole lot to discuss, but still a little bit I want to touch upon today. So Fabrizio Romano let us know this morning that Ugarte has successfully completed the main part of his medical, and the documents between PSG and United are all set to be finalized and signed today. So hopefully that means we'll get the announcement sometime today. We could also get another bonus midfielder announcement today, as it's expected that United are going to finalize the transfer of Sekou Kone and maybe announce that as well. Might have already happened since I've gone live. We could also be set to receive a little bit of bonus money from a player who doesn't even play for us anymore. So Teden Mengi, you remember the young center back, he joined Luton Town last summer for pennies, and he spent over 13, 14 years at United. He might be going to Torino this summer, according to Fabrizio Romano. So remember, we only got a small fee for him when he joined Luton Town. He looked pretty decent. He had some good spells, had some struggles against some of the bigger sides. It's going to be expected. He's a young player. But we did include a significant sell-on clause, probably like between 40 and 50%. I can't remember the official number. And so if he does move to Torino, we're going to be getting some of that cheddar cheese from that transfer. So keep an eye out for that. Could be another bonus. We've already sold quite a few players. I think we've sold over 100 million pounds worth of players this summer. A lot of that is pure profit, either McTominay, Greenwood. We're getting some sell-ons from Mengi now. Kemwala was all profit as well. So we're making some bank this summer. Ineos are really, really focused on that right now, getting us out of this PSR hole and kind of just getting us back into to neutral a little bit. So also, McTominay has landed in Italy, set to complete his move to Napoli today. Gianluca Di Marzio shared some footage of McTominay, and I assume were his parents and maybe his agent outside of a private plane at an airport in Naples. And then Fabrizio Romano shared some cell phone footage today of Napoli fans greeting McTominay at the airport. So it's good to see him kind of get celebrated, kind of get that warm welcome. I know a lot of people were not fans of McTominay, not personally. They just, didn't like him as a player in terms of his ability. They thought maybe he just wasn't good enough. I never ever shied away from saying that I thought that he wasn't good enough for what we needed. He didn't offer enough as a footballer, but I'll never ever doubt McTominay's heart and his passion for the badge. I wish more players at United would play for the badge the way he did. I know he's been called a teacher's pet sometimes, but I think that's why managers like him. He just does what they ask. He's eager to just perform and do what was needed. And he doesn't complain about it, unlike some of these other players. I mean, you got Anthony complaining about having to play left back for a few moments in a match. Like, this is the difference between a player like McTominay and not. It's a shame that McTominay wasn't maybe a little better on the ball, maybe didn't have a little bit better footballing intelligence, but it is what it is. We wish him the best of luck. So coming from Duncan Castles, though, so that guaranteed money that we're getting to sell McTominay is apparently that's our 5th highest transfer fee ever for selling a player, which is a little insane. That's the highest, according to Duncan Castle, since Lukaku's sale to Inter. 3rd highest profit on a sale, surpassed only by Ronaldo and Beckham when we sold them to Real Madrid. Again, that also brings us over 100 million pounds in sales. So Ineos are moving. They are selling players. They are making money. They are strengthening the squad. We're going to talk more about that on Saturday's show, so don't forget to stop by. Ineos are moving. Let me know what you think. Happy to see McTominay go. Kind of sad to see him go. He spent over 2 decades at the club. Pretty much moved on to make money because we needed to sell for profit to bring in Ugarte. Most likely that was probably the reason that Ugarte is a permanent transfer and not a loan with an obligation to buy. Sounds like we just wanted to get that done. So let me know your thoughts on McTominay. Don't forget to like the video, please, and subscribe if you are new. Sticking with midfield for a second. So I read a report this morning. Let me know what you guys think of this one too, because I was interested. I put this out on Twitter before I went live. I read a report this morning that Real Madrid only want around 10 million euros for Dani Ceballos. I think that's like £8.5 million. If you remember Dani Ceballos, he spent a year on loan at Arsenal. I had never thought he was bad at Madrid. I watched him a little bit last year when he was with Madrid. Justin, if you're watching, let me know what your thoughts are on Dani Ceballos. I'm not gonna lie, as a squad option, I think that's a bargain for someone like Dani Ceballos. Like that's probably less than what we would pay for like an Amrabat. Definitely less than we would pay for Sander Berge. Would you take that as a quality squad option? Do you think he was better than McTominay as that kind of squad player? I think he's probably will do a little bit more than Christian Eriksen. Would you take Dani Ceballos at United? I looked up some of his metrics on FBref and whatnot before I went live just to kind of check. If you look at his ball progression, his passing numbers, his chance creation, it's all stellar. Like high 80s, 90s percentile for all these metrics. Like to play at Madrid, you have to be good. I'm just saying. Let me know in the chat what you think about Dani Ceballos. Reportedly available for less than 10 million euros. It's roughly £8.5 million. Would you take him at United if we maybe sold Christian Eriksen as well? McTominay just left. We're going to need more players for rotation. Tenhag said he wants 2 players in each position. McTominay leaving, you could argue, does leave a hole because he and Eriksen are not the same player. McTominay and Ugarte are not the same player. I don't think Ugarte is looked at as a McTominay replacement. Let me know your thoughts. Dani Ceballos, super, super cheap. I think there's an option maybe to get that done. Would you take him at United? Let me know. We have our daily laugh at Chelsea moment here today. So Chelsea, I was watching and reading a little bit yesterday, and this is coming mostly from Terry at Football Terrace. He was talking about it, and then I was looking up a little bit because it's always fun to laugh at Chelsea, right? So apparently Chelsea's attempt to circumvent financial fair play rules could backfire. Now remember, FFP is UEFA, PSR is Premier League. So this is more to do with UEFA. So UEFA has confirmed that it does not allow clubs to register income from selling assets to sister companies. So if you remember, Chelsea were selling some hotels and whatnot to parent companies. They sold their women's team to sister companies. So Chelsea's losses that they've tried to offset by selling hotels and their women's team could have been for nothing if this goes through. So an independent panel is going to come in to assess this individual case. But if after the investigation Chelsea are found guilty, not guilty like they committed a crime, but if it's ruled that they're selling those assets doesn't count, they could be banned from UEFA competitions, which means Europa League, which means Champions League, Conference League, whatever you want to call it. Because remember, we knocked them down in the Conference League this season. Sorry, Chelsea. That does go into next season. That's not going to affect them this season because the case is still ongoing. So they need the money from Champions League football. Like Todd Bowley has spent a mint on Chelsea since he's arrived. Over £2 billion. He spent a tenth of that on 3 midfielders alone in Enzo, Caicedo. Not a tenth. Did I say a tenth? Yeah. And he just keeps spending. Like they just keep bringing in players. He's literally signed almost 40 first-team players. They've registered almost 50 players. I told you, they're going to be in the same boat as Barcelona. They're going to have to start. But it sounds like, at least from a UEFA standpoint, they're not going to be allowed potentially to keep selling assets to offset those losses. We don't even know if that's been allowed yet. We're waiting on see, and that's what we're talking about. So they do need that Champions League money though to help. If they don't get it, if they get a UEFA ban, that could really cripple them. Bowley and Blueco are probably going to feel that, and they might not. I don't understand how they're able to register players, honestly. You guys let me know your thoughts. Insert Thierry Henry smiling gif here, please, because I'm about to just hear and go. Usman, welcome, buddy. How are you, my friend? Good to see you this morning. Don't worry about being late. I try to depend what time I go live in the mornings is dependent on a lot of different things. The weather, because I got to walk my dogs. If it's too hot, sometimes I'll walk them earlier so we don't have to walk in the heat. because I'm doing this in my house and my wife and I both work from home, I have to try to squeeze this in before maybe she's got to go do some work in the next room, so you guys don't hear her chatting to clients and whatnot. And then it depends on what I've got going on. Like I said, this isn't my job. This is a hobby. So, I do have other things that I've got to do. Sometimes I'm going to be gone. Like if I go fishing, I'm usually gone. I'm already on the water by now, like things like that. So it depends, but usually I'll try to be here between 7:30 and 8 in the morning if there's some news to chat about. Sometimes if there's not a whole lot of news, I'll wait until maybe a little later on in the afternoon, because like I've said before, I love interacting with you guys. I just don't want to jump on with nothing to talk about simply for the sake of getting views and stuff. I don't think that's fair to you guys, so I'd rather have stuff to talk about. So but anyway, Chelsea could have sold those hotels and those women's team on paper for nothing. We'll see what happens. They could be facing a UEFA ban if this independent panel comes in and decides that what they did was not okay. So let me know your thoughts on that. Sticking with Chelsea, though. So Graham Bailey reported yesterday that Manchester United have made clear to Raheem Sterling's representatives that his wages at United would be capped at a maximum of £200 per week, or £200,000 per week. Sorry, £200. That'd be fun. And he would have to accept being a squad player. Purportedly, Sterling has agreed to this in principle. I don't know if this is true. I don't know why we're looking at Raheem Sterling. I don't rate Raheem Sterling. I don't think he's any better than who we have. I think Ahmad is better than him. Garnacho is better than him. Rashford, okay, arguably he hasn't been in great form, but let's say Raheem Sterling on his best day, Rashford on his best day. Who are you taking? I'm still going to be taking Rashford, because Rashford on his best day is better than Sterling on his best day. And that's just the truth. It is objectively true, any way you want to cut it. I don't know in this case why we would help Chelsea. Like we just spoke about that. Why would we want to help them? Why would we care about Chelsea's financial? Why would we want to give them money? Why would we want to help them in their wages or anything? They could be a non-entity as a club if they can't turn their finances around. Like, why would we want to help them out of that? So I don't know why we would offer to take an expensive player off their books. If we sell Sancho, would you rather stick with Antony or bring in Sterling if it means you help Chelsea in doing so? Like, let me know in the chat what you think about Sterling, what you think about Chelsea. Do you want to take Sterling? Would you be happy with that? I wouldn't be happy. I'd rather not. I'd rather sell Sancho and not get a winger than get Sterling. I just don't rate Sterling. He's on a lot of money. He's not good. He's 29. Like, I don't think he moves the needle. We don't need any more wide players personally. Like, go get another midfielder. Like, I get a left back. See if Cucurella. I don't want Chilwell either, so don't give me that Chilwell nonsense. Go get Cucurella. He was one of the best players at the Euros this season. It was a good Euros for fullbacks because Carvajal did very, very well. Kadioglu did very, very well. Cucurella was insane for Spain. I rhymed. That was pretty cool. So let me know your thoughts on that, you guys. Let me know what you guys' predictions are for our Europa League draw tomorrow. Is there anybody you're looking to avoid? Is there anybody you're hoping to play? I want some revenge against Galatasaray personally. I think Fenerbahce could be an interesting one just because of the Jose Mourinho connection, right? Could be fun to play Jose again and see how he does. Of course, unless he knocks us, we lose, and then it would not be fun. But let me see if there's any more news that popped up today while I've been live, just in case. What we got here? Nothing really. Just some more footage of McTominay in goals. A lot of people celebrating him, waving to the fans. So best of luck, McTominay. And I think that's going to be it, you guys. If anything big pops up later on today, of course, I will be back with to get your thoughts on it. We'll see how that goes. I will be back, of course, tomorrow to talk about our Europa League draw, give my predictions for that. And then please, please, please don't forget to stop by Saturday for our transfer window rating show and our expectations for the season. We'll talk a little bit about the Liverpool match ahead of that on Sunday as well. Please like the video if you haven't yet. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new. Go check me out on Twitter, MUFC versus everybody, or sorry, it's United versus everybody. Now I forgot that I changed that over. It's gonna take me a while to get used to that. It does sound better, right, coming off the tongue, United versus everybody compared to MUFC versus everybody. But I've been saying MUFC versus everybody for so long, it's going to take me a little bit of time to get used to it. But thank you, Usman, for stopping by today, guys. A little bit of a quiet news day, but I did want to make sure I stopped and talked about the Carabao Cup and the Europa League format as we prepare for that draw tomorrow. So don't forget to stop by Saturday. We will be doing the giveaway as a thank you for everybody who helped this channel grow to 1,000 subscribers. I will have a guest with me on Saturday to talk about the transfer window and the season expectations as well. So stop by, get involved, get your thoughts in on that. It's going to be a fun show, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.